and welcome to LearnBytes, the show that delivers bite-sized pieces of wisdom so you can learn how to increase your efficiency and productivity, embrace your natural creativity, and lead with impact. I'm Samantha Garrett from Using Technology Better, and joining me on the show today is Helen Ebdon, a productivity and performance expert who is keen to show you how to get so much more out of your day. I love Helen's work, so I'm super keen to jump on in, introduce you to her, and get this show on the road. Hello, Helen. It's great to have you on the show.
Hey, Samantha. Yeah, lovely to be here. And thanks for inviting me. I'm really excited and looking forward to the interview.
Oh, you are welcome. I'm just so grateful that you accepted, because when I got introduced to you and I looked at your website and your program, which we'll hear more about later, I was so excited because it's so up my alley. So I'm pumped that we've got you on the show. So on that note, efficiency and productivity is your topic today, which I'm not surprised because it's such a perfect fit for your program. So, but before we jump into the speed round, did you want to share a little bit about yourself with the audience?
Sure. Let me think. I come from a graphic design background. That's what I started, what I was trained to do. And then I ran two businesses over a period of 17 years. So graphic design direct marketing agencies employing 4 to 5 full-time staff at any time. I sold both of those businesses to enable me to do what I'm doing now, which is business coaching and executive coaching. And the reason that I did that was because I felt when I was running my businesses, I would have loved to have had someone like me come into my business, sit down with me and go through and sort of support me. When I was running the two businesses, there was no one like that around. Sure, there were accountants. I think we had someone come in and do our invoicing. It wasn't a bookkeeper, it was just, an admin kind of person. But there weren't the freelance marketing people and the HR people that are around today. And so that was the reason for doing business coaching, because to be able to support people, knowing what I went through, running two businesses when I didn't know a lot about business, and I kind of had to learn along the way. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, and specifically focusing on the time management program.
Lovely. So I love how you've kind of gone full circle. Like you went out there and you got all that experience, and you learned all the hardware, and then you're bringing it to people now in your programs and your coaching, which is brilliant.
Yeah. And that's exactly right, Sam. So nothing that I'm doing is straight out of a book. It's all stuff that I've been, tools and bits and pieces that I've been using over the years, sort of helping myself specifically, and then sort of helping staff and clients, and now, with business coaching, helping my clients as well. So, and best wisdom, I think, comes from having experienced something yourself and learning from them. I'm sure you've been through the same thing yourself.
Yeah. And so actually, like, that's the whole purpose for this show. Like, the whole idea of LearnBytes is people sharing these little bites of wisdom, which they get through their life experiences, which I just find so amazing that all of us have these little bites. Hence why I created the show. So yeah, totally can relate to that. Yeah. Well, thank you. All right. Are you ready then? Because, we like to try and keep this bite size. So I've got my timer ready. Are you ready for the 8 questions in 4 minutes?
Oh, God. Here we go. Let's see. Does anyone ever get through the whole 8 questions, Samantha?
They do. And you know what's funny? Most of the time, the people that do it are doing the efficiency and productivity series, which is your series today. So, but not always. So it's fine.
Right,
now,
okay. I'll do my best.
Yeah, all good. I'll try and give you a 1 minute warning. So if you see me kind of looking down, it's because I'm checking the timer. So I'm not bored.
Sure.
All right, so let's do it. First mobile phone and current phone.
iPhone all the way.
All righty, there you go. Yeah. What does working efficiently and productively mean to you, Helen?
Okay, I'm going to muck this up because this is a bit of a story, but here goes anyway. I didn't realize I had to do it in 4 minutes. I came across a post probably a couple of years ago where someone was actually saying that they were doing or working 16 hours a day and they wanted to be able to do more. And I kind of thought there's got to be a typo. It's not, you know, someone's misspelt something or something's gone wrong. And then I went through the feed and looked at all the comments, and everyone was telling this person how they could find more hours in the day to do their work. And I was just really surprised because I come from, you know, it's really important to have time with family and friends. It's time to have, it's really important to reflect on, you know, what your thoughts are and what you're doing and what your goals are, and have leisure time. So for me, working efficiently and productively means one thing, and that is working effectively within your available time, whatever that is. So, and we can talk about that a little bit later. Yeah.
I'd love to explore that more. Awesome.
My 4 minutes are up, I'm sure.
All good. When and where do you work best?
The lounge couch if I'm writing or doing any design, and then my office with clients. But yeah, the lounge for sure.
Yeah. Oh, we're so going to chat about that then too. Favorite app for helping your efficiency or productivity?
That's got to be my Take 15. It's not an app. It's actually pen, paper, and I loosely refer to it as a daily planner, but much more than that. So yeah, that would have to be my favorite.
Awesome. I love it. It's a manual app, and that's all, you know, so that totally fits the bill. All right. Biggest efficiency or productivity challenge?
Social media, I think. I found myself a little while ago, I'd finish a project and then I'd get onto social media to see what my friends and family were doing. And I realized I was using it almost like a reward. And yeah, which was really interesting. And I had to sort of pull myself back and kind of really ask the question, you know, is that really, you know, a great way to sort of, you know, finish off a project? So I think for all of us, I remember coming from a time where, you know, if I needed to make a phone call and I was at work, I had to wait till I got home. So I couldn't actually ring people from the office. And I found that nobody actually died, you know, nothing was that urgent, nobody died. So I kind of think that all of us are really struggling with technology, struggling with social media. And that's one of the things, again, so that definitely for me, biggest productivity efficiency challenge.
So then what's, Helen, the number one thing you've done that's had the biggest impact on your efficiency and productivity?
Again, I'd have to say, Sam, I'm really sorry, but it's the Take 15 program.
No apology needed. We're going to have to definitely talk about this, but let's save the rest of those words for after. Let's go on to 7. Book, video, or podcast you would recommend to others.
My Bible is Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I just keep coming back to it, you know, over and over again. It's just, I don't know how he managed to write it, but there's so much gold in his book. So yeah, and written in 1989, first published. So interesting.
I didn't realize it was that long. 12 seconds. We can do this. Number 8, if you could save an hour each day and spend that time doing something you're passionate about, what would it be and why?
Probably either singing or designing furniture. Yeah, so my husband and I are a bit of a team. We're doing our outdoor sofa at the moment, which I'm really excited about, picking fabrics and doing all that stuff. So yeah, it's something that brings me a lot of joy. So I love doing it.
Love it. And it's practical. Like, I mean, I just love that idea of like, you do something that brings you joy and you get some furniture. Like, anyway, that's like amazing. Yeah. Oh, well, look, you brought it home. We did it. That was awesome. So a couple of things that jumped out. Clearly we're going to talk Take 15, but before we do that, I just am curious. I loved how you used the words like working efficiently, productively is working effectively in the time available. And that I thought was such an interesting point. Could you elaborate a little bit on that? And perhaps you can weave in the Take 15 program and the planner. I'm so excited to hear about the planner too.
Yeah. It's actually interesting, but it's the one key thing that probably differentiates what I'm doing from what a lot of other people are doing. We kind of are all... We all believe in the eight-hour myth, you know, that we work 8 hours. And so what we do within the program, with the Take 15 program, is we on a daily basis determine how many available hours we have to work. So when you take away things like traveling, when you take away things like meeting, you know, what you'll find is that that you do actually have less than 8 hours a day. So every day we get really very realistic about what is our available time, and work to that. So that's really key. So, you know, you might be a mum that's on a couch and, you know, you're sort of, you know, creating a business on the side, and you might only have 1 or 2 hours a day. You know, a mum breastfeeding. You might be a bookkeeper and you might have 8 hours a day or 7 hours a day. You might be a mortgage broker and you might have, you know, 4 or 5 hours, or a tech person, and, you know, you're going to lots of meetings. So yes, that's work, but in terms of working on something that's important to you, or working on your business, or working on a project, you know, we really you know, we really get clear about what is your available time and how can you work to that.
That's so good. Key. I love it, because I think certainly the people I've worked with, often there's a sense of like disappointment in themselves for not achieving everything that they wanted to achieve. But when they actually sat down and looked at it, you're right. It's like, that was never going to be achieved in the time you had available. So it's about really, really thinking that and matching those expectations of what you can achieve with actually what is practical in that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't mind, I mean, there's a story that goes behind that. And one of the reasons that it was really important to actually factor it into the designing of the Take 15 program. I had a guy that came along to do the Take 15, and he'd been running a business, I think about 5 years or so, with, you know, full-time staff. And he was really, really unhappy. And one of the very first questions I asked him was, you know, how, you know, what time do you go in and how many hours a day do you work? And he said he worked 10 hours a day. And then I asked him to break that down, and we broke it down to, you know, about 3 hours a day, you know, taking briefs from clients and then briefing the projects into staff. And then about an hour and a half working, or, you know, reviewing emails and resolving those issues. Half an hour for lunch, half an hour for miscellaneous. So he actually, in fact, only had 4.5 hours of available time a day. So what this guy was doing was going into the office and writing up to-do lists worth 10 hours. But he only actually had, on average, around about 4.5 hours. So how do you think he would be feeling day in, day out, going into the office and writing up these to-do lists? He felt unhappy. He felt frustrated. He felt like he wasn't getting anything done. So one of the things that he started to do was to start to work within that 4.5 hour available time. And he felt that all of a sudden it sort of turned around how he was feeling about his business. In fact, you know, before working with me, he was, you know, he said he really dreaded going into work on Mondays because he knew what was ahead of him. So, and you know, really all that was happening was that he wasn't being realistic about his available time. As you said, we pretend that we've got 8 hours a day, and then we get frustrated, and then we get unhappy because we're thinking we're not achieving. And really, sometimes it's not possible to achieve. You know, our expectations can be really high. They can really muck us up. And and it is about being realistic. And the more realistic you are, the happier you are. And, you know, one of the things that we don't talk about in corporate is how we feel. And, you know, I'm a firm believer, if I feel good, then there's a trickle down effect. You know, my staff, the people I report to or report to me start to feel good. I feel good. My family feels good. Everything feels good. And it's all about how we feel. So if we're going into the office day in, day out with these really high expectations, being unrealistic and not achieving what we set out to achieve because it's not being realistic, then, you know, day in, day out, you know, burnout, all of that stuff happens.
And it's like it's one of those things that it's a simple shift when you make it, but it's such an impact. And like, as you said, you know, for that thing to be able, I'm sure among other things, but to turn that person around from really dreading going into work to actually getting some enjoyment back, like that's really massive. So
And it's actually interesting because another person just recently I was working with, and she was saying that she's finding it really difficult to, do invoicing. She was running a small business, and the reason that she was feeling that way was because she didn't feel that she was productive during the day, and so didn't feel like she was bringing value to clients, and therefore she couldn't invoice. So she turned that around when, interesting. And when she started to feel more focused, more productive, and that's again something that we talk about in the program, within a week, she said she stopped feeling like she was flittering around. She was more focused and she felt more comfortable about invoicing. So it impacts everything.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Well, we can't end this without me asking you about your amazing planner, because when we had our little chat the other week, you held it up and showed me and I was like, ooh, this looks so interesting. So I would love to see this. And I want to preface this, and I think I said this to you, but my day job's a technology trainer, right? So a lot of people are like, oh, well, which app should we use to do this and that? But I often say to people, seriously, like pen and paper or a good notepad or planner or whatever is seriously your best friend. So I'm so excited that you've got one. So do tell.
Yeah. Well, it's actually really interesting because, like when I designed the Take 15 program, it wasn't about being productive 24/7.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a fallacy and it's a myth, and there's so many myths around productivity which drive me crazy. But the reason and the objective behind Take 15 was, if I can leave the office at the end of the day and feel like I've done a great day's work and feel that I've been effective, and you do that for 30 days, that's going to make you feel better. And as I said before, it's all about how you feel. So I wanted to design something that was a circuit breaker, a disruptor technology, something to remind us that technology is supposed to be a tool. Like I actually hold this up in my mobile phone up in the Take 15 workshop, and I ask people what that is, and they say it's a communication device, it's a mobile phone. I go, no, it's a tool, right? So it's true. Like a toaster is a tool. We get up in the morning, we put our bread in it, we make toast, and then we put it back in the cupboard. We're not meant to carry these things around all day in our hip pockets and be hijacked by them. So Take 15 is based on brain science, and brain science says the most effective and productive time and for your brain to be doing high functioning things like planning, organizing and prioritizing is in the morning. So do that do it with pen and paper rather than be on technology doing things, everything on computers. So Take 15 will never be an app. It will always be pen and paper for that reason, to remind us that we don't need to be attached in the way that we are. And I think for so many of us, it's like we're forgetting that it is technology and it's a tool. So I'm going to go grab my Take 15.
Dude, get it. I should have warned you that I wanted to see it beforehand, but that's all. I'm sure it's in easy reach.
So there's a lot of daily planners around. I actually don't know what to call this other than a daily planner, but if anyone has any ideas, please let me know. And the reason, because it's so simple, Samantha, and that's the point. I didn't want to design something that was so complicated that people would not sort of buy into. So really what it is every day you're working across these 2 pages. Every day you work through these 5 key steps. Every day you do a brain dump of everything that's in your head. Again, freeing up that part of your brain where we're planning, organizing and prioritizing. Step 1 is all about just get into a really quiet place, be in the flow, turn off your notifications, turn off your emails, turn off your computer, and just sit there quietly without any distractions, and start working through your Take 15 daily planner. Steps 2 and 3 are about recording the evidence that your business or your work is on track. For a lot of us, we tend to be putting out fires all the time, and as a result, we start to feel like nothing's working, or all we're ever focusing on is the things that are fixed. So on a daily basis, we record, what is working, and it's big and small things. So I finished a project, or it could be, I received confirmation for something, or I was paid for something, big, small, whatever. And it's all about building that emotional core. I believe we have a physical core. We go to the gym to keep our physical core strong, and I think we have an emotional core, and that emotional core, especially at the moment with working from home and homeschooling and everything that's going on, it tends to get really battered. And one of the ways to keep that emotional core strong is to record and keep top of mind the things that are working in your life. So really, really important. Step 4 is all about mind mapping. We look at what is our available time on a daily basis. We choose our 5 key things, prioritize, choose 5 key things, overestimate how long things are going to take as opposed to what normally we do, which is underestimate. And then so once we've done all our working out in here, then step 5 is about our action steps and recording our action steps and confirming that it is possible to be done within our available time. Brilliant. So they're the steps, and then the next day you review. But this becomes like your hard drive, your personal hard drive. So during the day, if I remember something, rather than do it, I'll just put it into my Take 15, and then I review it the next day. So it's again about getting used to not, that Pavlov's dog thing where you have a stimulus and a response. And we're also used to, you get an email, you feel like you've got to respond today. And so this is about asking yourself that question: is it negotiable? Is it non-negotiable? Do I have to do it today? Or can it wait? And generally, if something's urgent, you're not going to sit there, find your pen, write it into your Take 15. You're going to go off and do whatever it is. I figure if you can take the time to write it in, then it's not that urgent and it can wait. So it's about practicing that, that tool of, asking yourself, is it urgent? No. Well, then it can wait. I can leave it there and it can be reviewed tomorrow. And, getting us into the habit of asking those questions and stopping that, stimulus response, which can drive people crazy. So,
for sure. And because there's so much stimulus. So, I love it. And I love the sound of the planner, even more the second time hearing it. So thank you, Helen, for sharing all of that wisdom. And for anyone watching, anyone listening to the podcast, make sure you watch the YouTube video too, so you can see Helen actually showed up the planner, held it up to the screen. So brilliant. So we're going to bring this home now, but I would love to, before we wrap, if you could share where people can find you, learn more about Take 15, where they can connect. And of course, I'll pop all the links below anyway, but if you just want to let them know.
Yeah. Thanks, Samantha. Okay, so I'm on Instagram, and the handle is Take 15 and then _ Helen Ebdon, and Ebdon is EBDON. My website is www.helenebdon.com.au. But if you're wanting more information, there is some information about Take 15 on the website. But yeah, I'll give you a link that you can post for Take 15. Yeah, that'd be great.
For sure. We'll definitely share that. That's awesome. You are very welcome. Thank you. I've learned so much and I've loved the conversation. So really appreciate it. So all righty. That's it. Sam. No worries.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Okay, bye. Take care. See you.
You too. Bye. Hello again. Thank you so much for joining me for that interview. I loved chatting to Helen. Her program and her topic is just such of interest to me, and I think could be really beneficial to so many people. So I'm just thinking, like, my biggest takeaway, as I highlighted in the interview, was definitely that idea of being effective with the time available. And I think if there's one thing you're going to take out of the interview today, it's really looking at, how much time do I actually have to do work today and what can I achieve in that time? Now, be sure to check out all of Helen's work in the notes below. I'll put all those links in. And a couple of other little housekeeping bits before we finish up. So if you are watching the show on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the Using Technology Better YouTube channel. Or if you're listening to the podcast version, follow the show and you'll be notified when the latest episodes are released. And don't forget that we do have the fortnightly newsletter full of efficiency, productivity and organisation tips. So if you'd like to get a little hello from me in your inbox every fortnight, use the link below to sign up. So that is it from me for today, but as always, I will see you again soon for another bite-sized piece of the learning adventure that is life. See you then.